Hey guys, Kyle here. Today I'm going to talk about how to buy an AR-15 in California. Now, I'm going to get into the basics. I'm going to give a good overview of what you need to know to get started if you want to buy an AR-15 if you're a first-time gun owner. I'm really only going to cover things pertaining to first-time gun owners buying an AR-15. If you already own one or you've already bought a couple or built a couple, this video is probably not for you. It's really more for people that are looking to buy their first AR-15. So I'm going to give a very good overview, and if you have any more questions, if I don't cover them, please leave some comments for me and I'll try to answer them as the best of my ability. But let's get into it. So first things first, if you've never bought a firearm and you want to buy an AR-15 for the first time in California, there's a few things you need to know. One is you're going to need to find your local FFL or your local gun dealer. They'll be able to answer all the questions you have, and they'll be able to go thoroughly, probably more into detail than even I can today for you. But the first thing is, when you find your local gun dealer, is you're going to have to pay $25 and you're going to have to get a FSC card, which is your Firearms Safety Certificate. This certificate is 25 bucks and it lasts for 5 years. It allows you to buy pistols, long guns, any gun. So basically, it's a 30-question test, and you have to pass it in order to buy a gun. You have to have it, and you have to get 75% or better in order to pass. Now, after that, when buying your firearm, you're going to have to fill out paperwork, a federal form called 4473 form. And with this form it's asking, are you a criminal? Are you evading the state? Are you addicted to any illegal substances? All that kind of stuff. And it basically just making sure you are who you are, and that's what they usually do the background check. Now, with that, once you're complete, let's say when you finally decide on what gun you want to buy and you buy your gun, you'll have a 10-day waiting period. Now, this isn't necessarily a 10-day background check. It's a 10-day waiting period because your background check is technically instant when they do it through the DOJ. A lot of people think that waiting periods are the background check, but that's actually not true. That's considered a cool down. So in the state of California, you have a 10-day waiting period before you can pick up your firearm. So let's say you pick out your AR-15, it's the one you want. You have your FSC card, you take your 4473 form, you do all that information, buy your firearm. Now you have to wait 10 days before you can come back to your gun store and pick it up. Once your 10 days have elapsed, you can pick up your firearm. As long as you pass your background check, you're good to go. You're out the door. So that's in itself. Usually the process of taking the test and doing your 4473 form probably takes about an hour to an hour and a half, just filling out all the paperwork and taking the test. Once that's all done, now you got to decide what AR-15 you want to get. So let's get into that real quick. So there's two types of AR-15s you can have in the state of California. I'm not going to talk about anything in the past in terms of the assault registration, anything like that. Like I said, I'm only going to stick to is if you're a brand new gun owner or a brand new gun buyer and this is your first time getting an AR-15. So let's talk about it. So in California, you have to either have a featureless rifle or you have to have a maglock AR rifle. And so I'll talk about those two and I'll just give a simple overview of what that consists of. So right in front of me, this is a featureless AR-15. And so when I say featureless, what does that mean? Featureless build means you can't have a collapsing stock. Your stock has to be fixed, has to be a fixed stock. You cannot have a flash hider of any kind. Most AR-15s typically have your A2 flash hider. It's pretty standard. You cannot have a flash hider, anything that suppresses the flash. You have to have a muzzle brake. So you have to have a muzzle brake. You cannot have a forward vertical pistol grip. You can have an angled grip, but you cannot have a vertical pistol grip. Or I'm sorry, yeah, vertical grip, forward grip. And then the last thing is you cannot have a regular pistol grip of any kind. So there's different brands out there in the market, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But essentially, you cannot wrap your thumb around your pistol grip. So you need something to basically stop your thumb. And there's a few different brands out there. There's a lot of different popular ones. There's the Thornton stock. There's the Strike Industries Mega Grip, and there's several others. There's Kydex wraps you can do over your existing pistol grips. Anything to prevent your thumb from going around. So if you do all that, that essentially will be a featureless build. I personally prefer the featureless build. That's what I have. Because for me, everything is essentially the same. The only difference is just not having my regular pistol grip. And for me, I have an ambidextrous safety, so I can still access my safety selector switch from the right side of the gun with my thumb. So, and with that, I still have access to my mag release. So for me, I can manipulate the gun just like any other regular AR-15. I just can't wrap my thumb around it. I don't prefer that system. I wish I could have my regular system, but that's just how it is for me living in this state of California. The next system of the next type of AR-15 that you can buy is a fixed mag. So, or fixed mag lock. So with the fixed mag lock, essentially what that is it is what it sounds like. When you stick in your magazine into your lower of your AR-15, it is fixed. You cannot detach it. There is no mag release button of any kind. In order to release your magazine, you have to separate the upper and the lower in order to release your magazine. So by doing this, then your magazine will release out, close back up, you're good to go. I personally don't like that system, but the nice thing about that system is that if you do a fixed mag, you're allowed to have a telescoping stock. You can have a regular pistol grip. You can have a forward vertical grip. You can have a flash hider. You can have all of your accessories, which is nice. The only downside is that obviously, you do not have your magazine release button. So I'm not a fan of that, but a lot of people are. So the other thing to that is that, at least in my experience, that I do not prefer about that is that when you do the fixed mag lock, if you ever have any jams, let's say you have a double feed or if you have a jam and your bolt carrier grip is back in your stock, you basically cannot separate your upper and lower. So if you have jams or problems like that, double feeds, it does make it harder to clear your malfunction. So there are a lot of different, components. There's a lot of different parts on the market that guys are trying to make it better. But I still feel like that's the biggest downside to having a fixed mag, is that it's slower to reload. And if you ever have any issue, you have to take apart your gun essentially. Now, if you have an AR-15 that you use primarily, let's say like at a bench or you're doing long shooting, and that's not that big of a deal, then sure, at least you can have your regular pistol grip and maybe that works for you. But for me, I want to be able to have access to my mag release and I want to be able to quit and be quick. I don't have to worry about having my bolt carrier get stuck and I have to separate my upper and lower. So, there's two different ways. You just have to decide which one is for you. But for me, I personally think that going featureless is the best. Now, in terms of doing the mag lock, there's a lot of different brands out there as well. There's you have Cross Armory. I tried them for a while. There's a Patriot Pen. There's a few different companies out there. They're all good. There's some are better than others. But like I said, for me, I went the featureless route. It just seemed a little easier. So those are your two options when it comes to buying an AR-15. You have to decide, do you want to be featureless or do you want to be mag lock? So you really just have to decide what's best for you. So I think personally being featureless is faster, but that's just me. So anyway, in a nutshell, that's essentially what there are. You have two options to buy. When you go to your FFL, you have to get your FSC card. You have to do your 4473 form. You have your background check, and then you have your option of what two types of AR-15s you want. Now, in general, if you live in a free state, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You don't have to worry about having a fin wrap. You can have collapsible stock. You can have an AT. You can do basically whatever you want. But unfortunately, in California, we're limited to what we want to do. Hopefully this helps you guys out. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer them. But like I said, I just wanted to give kind of an overview of in the most simplest way of what you can expect to buying your first AR-15. There's a lot to it. I do suggest you do your research. There's a lot to understanding when it comes to buying an AR-15 or building one. But those are the two AR-15s you can have in California right now. So anyway, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.